you almost say like you do the back end stuff. Like I keep it from you. It's just the way that this program is set up. It's hard to share. Like it has the ability to share, but Dear Leader needs to set it up properly. And
it's more of whenever the stream house happens, it'd be very simple to go. Oh, you live like 5 minutes away. Here, you're gonna be the emergency editor for everything.
Well, that's the thing with the stream house. We're just going to call everybody who works at the producer desk Producer Paul. No matter who's at it, it's just going to be Producer Paul.
That's fair.
Yeah. Paul, can you pull this up?
Can you pull this up, Paul?
Anyways, by the way, hi everybody. Welcome to episode. Apparently, this is episode 76 of Low Key on the Your Libertarians Network. I am shocked myself. I am shocked. Honestly, I will say this just with. I have never really kept track of how many episodes we did. I just hit record and just send it into Dear Leader. That was everything I did. And then he goes responds and goes, we done 75 episodes. Just like awesome. I didn't know that. I didn't keep track. I think I've said episode 10 3 times, but I don't know. But,
I mean, it's easy to lose. It's easy to lose track after taking 5 months off. It happens.
We are real life, Christy. Unlike the fake life that Dear Leader does. Okay,
yeah, we can respond to you. We see.
We are real.
We're here for you.
Yeah. We are. I should have said Christy. You know what? I'm so live, Christy. I'm gonna send you the link. Jump in. Shit. I'm not gonna
free for all.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, welcome everyone to Low Key on the We Are Libertarians Network. I am your host, Harry, aka Moving Target. I am once again joined with the other members of the crew, with one person who comes late, with this doesn't think that's on time.
That was I saw you show up at 9:01. Thank you very much. It was 9:01. That's called fashionably late.
I was taking care of family stuff, and it looked a little longer than I wanted. I'm sorry. I apologize for being a minute late.
That's fine.
We can forgive you. It's okay.
Do we want to?
So my wife fell asleep with her head all cooked over, so I had to stop and rearrange her so she could not have a sore neck in the morning.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. All right. Well, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Let's start with Vincent since he showed up on time.
Hello, I'm here once more. Probably going to talk about more things that make me sad in pop culture. Watching as time feels like it doesn't exist after being laid off on Wednesday.
And I try to tell them that time does exist. Okay. All right.
Yeah, my job just completely shut down on Wednesday. So they're like, oh, yeah, this is not open anymore. Goodbye.
So, did you was like a note on the door? Or
no, we showed up. And then the HR person that's supposed to be an off-premises HR person pulled in. And I was like, oh, well, this isn't going to be pretty.
Oh, that woman.
And then it was like, yeah, the owners decided to close this. And we're gonna pay you for the rest of the day, even though it's 8:00, and you guys are free to go.
The day.
And it's like you have insurance till the end of the month. Oh wait, it's the 31st.
They didn't give you like a severance package of some sort?
They paid out our PTO.
See, and that's explained.
But they have to legally. I'm talking about a severance package. You don't.
Of course not.
No, because they were all right. So I figured something this would happen because what they did with that warehouse, correct me if I'm wrong, is they shrank your numbers down to a point where they could close without doing anything. They under legal board.
Oh, they actually ended up. They kept like 6 or 7 people and they terminated everybody else. So they have people to finish shutting down for 6 more weeks.
But they've been whittling the company, like their employee staff, down. They've been whittling.
Well, it's what happens when your owners are running it from a different state, ordering everything from a different state, and then took the unprecedented revenues from COVID and used those as the projection numbers and decided to go, you know what we need? We need to use this money to get a bigger place. And then they got a bigger location, hired a bunch of people, and then the owners kept making bad investments, including buying in bulk like $1 million worth of product they couldn't sell because they messed up their listing and got pulled from selling it. So I spent a lot of time for the past like 3 months going to work, doing maybe 2 hours of work, and getting paid to be there for the rest of the time. Because they didn't have enough work, and they decided they still wanted to keep us around so they could officially say they shut it down. So I'm not upset, and I wasn't shocked that it was going to happen. But time just feels like it is moving at a random pace since I haven't had to wake up for anything important for 5-6 days. So
well, we're glad we're here to make you wake up for this important episode.
Totally at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, happy 3-day weekend you got there, right?
Yeah, totally. We're supposed to have a 3-day weekend. They're supposed to pay us for today too.
You are getting unemployment, right?
Mm-hmm, of course.
Yeah. There is like a special clause, like because if in order to shut like a warehouse out of a certain size, you have to have like an announcement. But it's like a certain production size. And that's why I said like they were trying to whittle that down so they didn't have to do that.
They were trying to make it so they didn't have to make it a big announcement.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things of their owners were incompetent anyway.
Yeah. The former company that I worked for was trying to do that too. And well, they were just going to do it to see if anyone noticed. And well, there's too much of a company going like, you can't do this legally. You can't do this. And I can't sit by and let you do this knowing because I know this is illegal. So, I'm not going down with you.
Right. It's just one of those things is like, oh man, I have all this free time now. So I proceeded to, in a single day, probably watch about 16 hours of anime because I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So Vincent studied and was all ready for tonight, and I studied and was all ready for tonight, but...
Yep.
Oh, I studied. I was ready for
else.
tonight, but my computer is down, which I had a lot of clips that I wanted to like because I was actually going to put up clips because Gundam Wing is very important to me, and I had to make sure I got because. Well, I'll get into it when we get to that because I need to get this machine up and running, because I didn't realize I left all those clips on this machine here that's sitting like right here, taken apart. I need these clips because I'm actually going to show some video clips. I don't care. I like Gundam, and this, especially Gundam Wing, it really did help me and change me. So I've got small snippets, and I wanted to be able to show that, show the love I have of this, and I need that machine on to be able to do that. And I didn't realize that till like noon when I was like, this is going to be fun. And I was like,
oh, wait.
Oh, no.
I want to change up what I'm going to talk about next week. Since he's doing Gundam, I want to do G-Force 5.
I don't even know what that is.
G-Force? Come on.
Oh, sorry.
You know what G-Force is.
It's okay.
Was it Battle of the Planets is what it was called in the United States?
Okay. Okay.
I remember right. Yeah.
Don't worry, Harry. We can't show clips of my show.
It's the only anime I knew when I was growing up.
That's fair.
Oh, we're going to show clips next week because I'm doing Kids in the Hall, and I have Kids in the Hall clips.
Yeah. We can't show clips on my from my show because it was from 2007, and it was a dark comedy in 2007. So in the first like 6 episodes, the main character attempts to unalive himself at least 10 times, visually on screen.
Can we get some happy stuff in for Donovan?
Don't worry.
Happy times, because it sounds like he could use a little of an uplift, as it were.
Well, uplift. This Friday we're all getting together for a nice full moon viewing party. We're gonna get together, stare at the full moon, and eat snacks and foods, and and look at the stars.
You say all of us. Who you mean?
That'd be
Friends.
the walnuts. So the wheelitarians. I almost forget what the N is. I haven't said it the whole acronym out in so long. Hold on. The Wheel Libertarians Networking Unity Team. I'm gonna get together with some walnuts.
Again,
Yeah.
Harry, as I've told you before, the whole moon viewing thing, I had found out through random information of the reason moon viewing parties even existed is because in the Meiji era, they, in order for them to confess their love for another, they would usually do it at a full moon, and they will look at the moon and go, "Isn't the moon beautiful?" And if the person they're talking to replies, "It is," that means they basically start dating, because romance.
Obviously, Vincent here
In a
doesn't
time where
tucking the homies in
things
at night.
happen. I'm sorry, I just like to be informed about weird things because that's what my life is.
So he's a lady killer 300 years ago.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So Christy, I changed the term, aka Liberty and Chill, because to me it got a little.
Somebody stole it.
Well, no, everyone was stealing it, and it was kind of like, I stopped caring. Maybe people were stealing it and stuff like that, and I also hated it too because it's like, oh, it's Liberty and Chill. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Nah, I'm just.
It was a great joke when you came up with it, and then it got old.
I didn't come up with
it. It's a dead meme, right?
Yeah,
it's a dead meme. I didn't come up with it. Yes, it was a little sexual too, especially because I really did like calling it just walnut meetups, and because I always did like it when people would bring their family, stuff like that. And even next year I would love to be able to do like walnut barbecues, because especially after this weekend I found out I can easily do multiple pork shoulders in my smoker. I think I did two, so I did like 2 pork shoulders, able to do like the family pack of chicken thighs in there too at the exact same time.
This is still too sexual. We need to dial it back a little
bit. Yeah, Harry, talk about thighs and stuff. Come on.
Shoulders and thighs.
Ooh, shoulders and thighs. The thick thighs. Yeah. We won't comment on that, but no.
So I do have a question. Are we changing the name of the podcast to Low Key? And dropping the WAL?
Well, like to me, like the Low Key Wall, like I named it that because of the idea of the big show, the Wall Show, right? It was Low Key version of the big show,
which is now coming back,
right? It's now coming back, maybe, possibly.
So, yeah. Until it's not again. Until Kristen's sick of it again, and then we'll drop it again.
Chris has started going solo without us right now. I will say this. He's enjoyed going solo.
I haven't been on the big show, and to my fear,
he is like, I'm solo now. It's like, huh.
I don't need those guys no more.
It's like, oh yeah, I give you guys your.
They're holding me back.
You guys have your 1 hour on a weekday.
I know.
I have the big show. Thank you very much.
I know, and it's like, wow. We see, like, unlike you, David, we got laid off. We didn't even get a letter. Okay.
No, we didn't get a letter either.
Yeah. It'd be like if you just kept waiting to get called in for like 3 months and just, hey, I guess
oh,
not
man.
today. Right.
Like this podcast
maybe next week.
For 5 months. Like this podcast for 5 months. Like I was poking Harry for.
All right, thank you, Donna, for coming to the show. It was great having you here. It was great, Anyway, so now this is
it's rude.
Yeah. Let's see. Whoa.
So now for me to be on the big show, I have to drive.
Have we sold the naming rights of the stream house? I don't. Whoa.
Chris has mentioned it. Chris has mentioned it.
Did he sell the naming rights already? Because we were talking about selling the naming rights of everything. I was like,
I believe he's got a check.
Okay, good. All right, cool. Because I was trying to get him. I told him he should because the couch that Reinhold will be sitting on. I kept telling you should sell the naming rights of the couch. So if we're not there, also joining me on the blank couch, sell the naming rights of the couch.
A Harry Scouge is right.
Still do that.
That could definitely what you did was rude and possibly discriminatory. How dare you do that to a Samoan? Not Samoan.
Listen,
Disclaimer, not Samoan. If
listen here, great value quarterback. By the way, great YouTuber quarterback Garrett. Funny guy on YouTube. Follow him. She's hilarious.
Did you see the latest?
We have a better quarterback. Ours is half black. Okay. So
yes, true. That is true.
50% better than quarterback.
see the latest new Libertarian Party New Hampshire tweet?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ryan, for coming.
I don't even think that can.
I don't want to get into it. I just want to know if you had seen it. That's all.
No. I try to.
Okay.
It's not even considered culture anymore. Make them go away.
It is just. I just honestly, I'm gonna get I need a trigger warning, like Libertarian, New Hampshire. Oh,
exactly.
It was retweeted by National.
This is the escape from that. This is the escape from that.
I'm just going to start saying I'm going to start a new party called the Enlightenment Party. So it's going to be the basic ideas of the Enlightenment that came about, classic liberalism, Thomas Jefferson, John Locke, all that stuff. That's going to be what we're going to stand for, not right-wing populism and that sort of nonsense.
Yes, Christy, it's my biggest flaw is yes, power will go to my head. That's why I try not to have any. So, if you want to know,
there's a reason I refuse to let Scalger talk him into running for any kind of office at all.
Yeah. It's the
I know better. I can tell.
Since it's how can I put this? If
Harry,
I was
Harry's
on the
Gollum.
fellowship, if I was
Here's
on the
Gollum.
Fellowship of the Ring, right? If I was on the Fellowship, right, and Frodo offered me the damn ring, I would fail and take it
instantly. It wouldn't even be a joke. It'd be like, "Oh yeah, thanks," and then just walk away.
The ring and his hand. I'm just like, yes.
Take the ring, disappear, and just be gone.
Just keep going, keep stepping. Yep. Which let's see. The power.
Here's a point.
Possibly, maybe.
So that's why you don't share the back end with me, Harry.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So, well, Vincent, we think we will hopefully get you a new job here shortly, but while you are full-time working for Low-Key, we appreciate it, but
oh man, so when's the check in the mail then?
All right, thanks for coming up.
So you were talking about the name change of the podcast
name. I kind of want to. It's something I've just been tossing around, the idea of Loki, but I've also listening to Thea, aka the Virtual Reality Show. Listen to her podcast about changing her name and why she changed it, hated it, and went back. So okay, she hated her name change. She just run with it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should just run with it versus just trying to change it to do something else with it.
There's only one problem with changing it to Low-Key.
Yeah.
It becomes the Loki podcast, and now we're talking about Marvel and Loki all the time.
Whoa! It doesn't have to be Marvel.
Loki.
It could be Greek. Thank you very much. We can talk about Greek mythology.
Roman.
Exactly.
Wow.
It doesn't have to be Marvel.
Wow.
Just saying. That's what comes out. I hear Loki. I hear Tom Hiddleston.
There's other Lokis. Okay. All right.
No. One Loki, and it's Tom Hiddleston, and nobody else can do that.
Are you sure about that?
Okay,
Saying the CW had a really good Loki.
Let me go get the comics and talk about how
CW. Okay, the only thing CW did right was they gave life to Constantine after it got screwed over on the network.
Underutilized Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
Underutilized.
Poor Constantine. He never gets the respect he
Underutilized
deserves.
Constantine. Oh man, that was just a waste. Especially because they had Constantine and Swamp Thing, right? Didn't they have the Swamp Thing license too?
Can we not do this again? We did this 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, they did have the Swamp Thing license. Yeah.
No, they didn't, because HBO Max had the Swamp Thing's license, and that's where they put the show. Same with that weird Titans reboot and Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol.
Now, something CW did do right, only it wasn't CW technically, was Supernatural. But technically, that was a WB program.
What, Supernatural?
Yes, it started out first
Yeah, it did
season
start
on
out
WB, and then WB got switched over, they merged and became CW.
Mm-hmm.
So technically CW had nothing to do with it. In fact, they came in and wanted to change a bunch of stuff and were thinking about getting rid of it and got talked out of it, thankfully. So we had 15 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah, it's great until like the last season where they tried to make everything work and it didn't. Especially
it was hard. I give them credit for trying, but it was in the middle of COVID and they couldn't get everybody there, and it was just all sort of crappy.
I agree, but when you decide that Destiel needs to go to super hell the moment he professes his romantic feelings for another male character, it's a little on the nose. And then never show him again, even when that male character goes to heaven.
Are you trying to be cryptic? You try to be cryptic so that people don't know exactly what you're saying?
No, that's exactly what happened.
Right. I know, but you're talking about Destiel.
Cass.
Oh, Castiel. Yeah, sorry,
Castiel. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's Castiel, but like
Castiel is Dean
the ship,
and Castiel.
Yeah, the ship. That's the whole point.
Okay.
That's
why I thought you were trying to.
It confirmed it. He goes to super hell immediately.
Well, yeah, Super Angel.
He gets that. Now, you know that they're going to come back and do more shows, right?
I mean, hopefully.
They're going to do one-off movies, probably. I mean, they're doing the prequel thing, but that's another thing. But
all I know is them playing Carry On My Wayward Son twice in the same episode is a bit much as well.
It's a bit. She's a bit much. Bit much. They probably had a license requirement to play the song so much to the season.
Well, it's a huge fan. No, it's a huge fan's favorite. I mean that the season finale every season was Carry On Wayward Son. That's how it started. That became a thing.
Yeah.
So
did you
know there's a podcast? They're doing a rewatch podcast of Supernatural, hosted by Rob and what's the other guy's name? The guy that played Gabriel and the guy that played Chuck.
Okay. I can't remember.
They're doing a rewatch podcast. First 2 episodes, their guests on the show were Jared and Jensen.
Yeah, nice.
So, and they've got a bunch of people on the show every episode. They talk. It's really good. I like it. It's a little formulaic and a little kind of dumb, but
I mean, hey,
they try to make some really funny. When they're ripping on Rob for he's like, what show were you on that came out the same time ours came out and nobody ever heard of? And he just started ripping on him and everything else. It was funny.
I enjoyed like the special guests they kept bringing on, like as actors, like especially some of the like the faux reunion shows you would get, or like the because they would bring different people on in Supernatural. That made me keep watching a whole bunch of episodes. But yeah, I would like to see I'd watch a Supernatural movie. Apparently,
well, you know how they wanted to end it. They wanted to end the show. What they wanted to do is they wanted to end the show. The vampire show that they had, the
Vampire Diaries or something like that. Yeah,
Diaries. That's right, Vampire Diaries. Their suggestion was that the show end and then you just see the Charger coming into town to take care of the vampire.
Charger?
You said
or not
Charger?
Charger? What was it?
Charger.
No, it was Impala. Sorry, it was an Impala. I was
remove
something else. Impala. I got it right.
All right.
It was Impala.
My only concern is how do they make a sequel series when they ended it in a way which they really don't have a lot of time in between having both of them there, because it ended with how Dean died of tetanus, basically. I mean,
Not
you're gonna tell me you've watched 15 seasons of Supernatural,
I mean,
and you can't think that they can come up with a way.
Of course, they're
to
going to
keep
bring
that
him back.
going.
Of course, they are. But it's still one of those. Cool.
There's supposed to be
we
no
give
way
him
for
this-
that happen.
How many times
Yeah,
did
they
Dean
went to
die?
heaven.
How many
That's
times
the
did
final,
he
man.
die?
But
No.
How many
supposed
people have
to
been
be
in and out of
hell.
heaven? To that whole
Death is
thing, the
final.
whole like half of the
Yeah.
series was them
But
in
we
and out of
wanted
heaven,
to
like
make
it was
it an
a
ending, though.
Grand Central Station.
But Dean died of tetanus, though.
All right,
He
so
died
the
of
other,
a nail. It's tetanus. It died to a
That's-
rusty nail, dude.
it's a big nail. That was a big
He
nail.
died
Okay,
to tetanus.
that was a big nail. Anyway,
It was
so
a demon nail.
the one thing that I was like
A clown nail,
upset
actually.
with Supernatural is because a couple of things that we didn't get through the entire the season of Supernatural is one, John Barrowman in Supernatural. We didn't get that. Okay, all right.
Well, he had a problematic issue during the last few years that now hopefully is behind him, but there were some accusations of him doing stuff on set that he shouldn't have been doing, but I think that's all been overblown and they've come around to realizing that he wasn't doing anything completely out of the ordinary or wrong, but it was, that's the only reason I think.
Was it out of the ordinary and wrong? Heck yeah. But was it par for the course with what was happening that season on Doctor Who? Heck yeah. All kinds of jokes were flying like that. They didn't have any other
It was
money.
more, yeah, it was
BBC
more on
was-
Torchwood, so
Yeah. And
where he got
BBC,
into trouble.
before they got super drunk with money and actually had money, what was thing was going on, right? Things were a little loose, things were running like, but the thing is, like, people think of the BBC how it was in like 2016, like, oh, this prestige is like, it wasn't always this way, right? like
Especially
oh, man.
BBC Wales. I mean, it's BBC Wales. They're not like,
right, they're filming in the exotic location of Cardiff. Like, the only reason I know where Cardiff is on the map is because Torchwood. Or even like understand that where it is like it's a country because like I think not Keith David, what was the heck, Mackay Pfeiffer was talking about that in Torchwood season 4 where they were going. It was like, he's trying to explain like, so it's not all England. No, no, it's not all England. I'm like, good, finally explain it for us Americans, please. What's going on here? Well, make any sense? Doesn't make any sense here. Whoa, what is this place called?
Yeah, at least Chris Chibnall wasn't running at the time.
Yeah, Chibnall made some good Torchwood episodes. Okay,
He wrote some good episodes. He was a horrible showrunner.
He is a very, very hit and miss. A lot of miss when it comes to control.
No.
A lot of miss.
The previous guy, I forget his name right now. He was hit and miss. Chibnall was
Moffat?
bad. Yeah, Moffat was hit and miss. Yeah,
whoa,
he had some really, really great stuff. Then he had a few things that were like,
that is true.
The
Like,
one where the girls on the guy's chest, whatever. It was Doctor Who. Doctor wasn't even in it for 95% of the show. It was about this one guy. You remember that one? That was a miss. Let's say
that
wasn't the best.
That was trying something different. I think I've watched it twice.
I get it.
But
I watched it twice. Maybe.
I didn't hate it like a lot of people did, but I didn't really like it a lot either.
I didn't hate it. I kept watching it. The second time around, I was like, okay, there's got to be something I missed. There's have to be like something else, like with this episode, right? Kind of like the Angels episode. There's something here, right? Nope. Nope. It is what
they were trying to do the Angel episode again and just did not succeed.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing with
Doctor.
Yeah, with Doctor Who is like once they started getting like money, it seemed like they just pissed away money. Like if it just seems like if the old school cat like if I would have had that, like Tom Bagley, if I would have had like half of your budget, half of what you got.
It's the issue with a lot of
it wasn't just the budget at the time. I mean, that was 70s, 60s. Yeah. That was you only had so much you could do with what was there. I don't care how much money you had. You weren't going to be making CGI monsters. You had to have. Yep. No, seriously, he did. A lot of people are like, I can't look at a statue anymore because of that. I've heard that before.
Oh, that's the one thing for Torchwood. I always thought was a miss. I was really wish that they did this, like even a book, right? Was talking about Torchwood 4, because they talked about the other towers of Torchwood in season 2. Was like there's other like branches of Torchwood, and Torchwood Tower 4 was lost in space and time. Something happened, right? Just, it's this romanticized thing that happened, right? I really would have loved if season 4 Torchwood was expanding upon that episode, or even spun off into its own thing, where it's the Torchwood team, kind of like Sliders, trying to get back home, and their building just keeps instead of like the TARDIS moving, it's just the building moving to worlds and space and time.
They're bringing back Quantum Leap, right? You know that, right?
They're bringing back everything gets brought out.
I thought they got canned.
But they're gonna. Have you heard about the new Big Fish stuff that's coming out? So Big Fish Audio, if you haven't paid attention, they've been doing Doctor Who episodes on audio's book, basically, and they've been getting all the actors to come in and play roles, like they've got this new one where it's like a new team that is working, and one of the characters is called the Curator, played by Tom Baker. So they're going to have Tom Baker on doing his future.
From the Day of the Doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
It all clicks. It clicks.
So now you're not just throwing it away now, are you?
It all clicks.
You're in now. You're in now.
Who cares? I was like, I'm
they
into that.
Had some real things. They had the Eighth Doctor. God damn it. What was his name?
Well, is it really the Eighth Doctor? There's hundreds of doctors before.
No.
100 doctors there.
No. We don't recognize all that. Because those weren't the Doctor. Those weren't the Doctor. They may have been iterations of that person, but they weren't the Doctor. The Doctor is
that
the
your
name
coat?
that you
Is that
go
your coat?
by. That's what they did with the War. Remember the War Doctor? He didn't think he was the Doctor either until they said at the end that he was. So that's what it is. It's a name. It's a name that you give yourself. So
that's some serious cope there, bro.
Paul McGann has been on several Big Fish audios too. He's so good, and it really irritates me that they screwed him over so bad on playing Doctor Who because they were going to make the whole new show. They were going to bring the show to the United States, so they made the movie and put him on there. It had continuity and everything.
Nice.
And then it just bombed because it was horribly marketed and it was a lot of problems with the script and everything else. But he was so good, and they didn't let him be good. They wouldn't let him be good in that movie. And then when you see him later, he's like, "Oh man, this is what should have been the Doctor for years. This guy should have been that." So it's great to see him get his due. I mean, he came back in the Day of the Doctor, the Night of the Doctor, whatever you want to call it, but it was the Night of the Doctor when he transformed into the War Doctor. He was so good in that episode. You could see it. You could see like the potential of what could have been with him just in that few minutes. Oh, it's great.
Well, I would say like the doctor that got my wife into Doctor Who was Eccleston, because like I try to get her to watch Matt Smith, meh. David Tennant, meh. And just randomly I started over with like some Eccleston episodes. She's like, "This is awesome. What is this?"
Well, it's that thing you didn't want to watch before. Well, I didn't know it was good though.
I like this. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, it was good. I just wish he didn't have such a love-hate relationship with the character, in the process of being the Doctor. Right? It would have been nice for him to come. I think they're trying to get him back for the 60th somehow. So we'll see how that goes. But which is in 2 years, I think.
Hopefully, I don't know. They've
already talked about it's not going to be a big movie like they did in 50th. They're going to do like 4 specials that are all.
I would like to see him back, and I also like to see Captain Jack back too. Okay, all right.
We want me some Captain Jack, or as we know him later on, the Face of Bo.
Or even I could also go for some like Face of Bo, just round.
Do a little bit of the morphing into the face about how he becomes the face. That would be really good.
Or just like I don't know, like
you know what's really sad?
what?
The guy that played Donna's grandfather filmed his scenes for the 60th anniversary weeks before he passed away. That one hit me hard because that guy, man, just that scene where he's like, "You can't die, you can't die," you know. And was it? He looks at him and says, "Wilford, you can't die," or something like that. Don't you dare!
Don't you dare! Yeah, I won't let you. Yeah.
Everybody's talking about that. What he did.
Yeah. Man, I'm just because that whole scene, like that whole like man, he was so good. It was especially like because they kept teasing Tennant's doctor's death, right? It was like he will knock through time
4 times.
Knock 4 times, and it was just like,
and you thought it was the master because of the 4 knock heartbeat,
and then like, oh my god, that knock on the glass just hit you like a ton of bricks. Happening. Boom.
He's just like looks up and was like, oh. And then Wilford's like, no, just leave me. I'm old. I'm gonna die anyway soon. You go. You're important. You go. And he's like, no, that ain't happening.
Ain't happening. Yeah.
So there was footage. I saw footage of Tennant wheeling him around in a wheelchair. It was right before. Oh man, it was. I'm gonna have a little bit of a problem watching that episode that he's in. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are probably going to have the clinics close by for that one. Yeah. It's going to be a tearjerker regardless, because they're going to do so, especially at the end credits. They're going to do something.
Oh yeah, there's going to be something special for him.
Yeah, and you're just going to be like, oh no.
It's going to be like
pause the screen stuff to go get your. You have 15 seconds to get tissues. What? You have 15. Just a timer. Like, it's coming.
I hope they get Donna back at least.
Oh man. All right. So I was worried when they did announce Catherine Tate as a companion, right?
Well, she was in the like the end of the first episode or something. The end of the first season. She pops in and they had a little camp, and then she's gone, and it's a one-off, right?
Yeah,
like she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be the next one. She was supposed to be the next one, and then something happened with scheduling, and they couldn't do it, so they brought in Martha.
And
then they moved on.
I liked Martha. I loved Martha.
Martha was fine.
Yeah,
and I'm glad she got her due after the fact with her and Mickey running off.
That was
she had more stuff to do.
Yeah, because it like, and I wish we would get like from the books. There's some stories with them too, because like it does make sense that these two would find each other. Like, after you do this, who do you talk to about any of this? It's it's amazing that those two found each other. Like the idea that Anyways, so yeah, Vince is over here is like, nerds. Nerds.
Absolutely not. Nerds. I just don't know. I'm not a Whovian at the same level you guys are.
I thought it was going to be.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching. My first introduction to Doctor Who was Tom Baker, and then I immediately started looking at the earlier stuff because he didn't come to the United States until about that time, right? Until then, he was just a BBC thing. But I remember the first episode I saw. I was in high school. When watching Channel 59, it just come out or something or Channel 20. I don't remember which one it was, but I just happened to see this show on there. I'm like, this is really weird. This guy with his long scarf doing stuff, and that's when I first met in that episode was Sarah Jane, and then watching her, and then her coming back right before she passed away and doing her own thing. Oh, that was nice. But yeah, that was my first Doctor.
I didn't start watching Doctor Who until like my senior year of high school. Because it's just like it was not on my radar. My parents didn't watch it. And it took like someone in my friend group finding out that I have no idea what the heck they're talking about. We were playing D&D, doing Monty Python jokes, having a blast, and someone started doing Doctor Who jokes, and I just kind of looked at them like they were like, "The heck are you guys talking about?" And it was just more of a like if the if they would have had just BBC America, like they could just log in and make me sit there and watch like marathon this, they probably would have did this. But it was more of you've got to look this up and download this.
See, I didn't know anything about
boot up the
Doctor Who.
LimeWire. Okay,
I didn't know about anything about Doctor Who till I was in college, and I had a friend who was like all about David Tennant, and then I watched it from there and just started. I haven't.
But your high school and his college were a little bit different than my high school.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
we're talking me like early 80s. Like
for me, it was 2012,
99, 2000.
So you were in the dark times and the in between times when there wasn't any Doctor Who on.
Right, yeah, there wasn't any on. It's like, yes, you have to download this, and or I've got a DVD. You got to come watch this, and then like Doctor Who's coming back, and I'm like, all right, I wasn't hyped for like, oh, Doctor Who's coming back. Like, okay, I understand what's going on, but
I was, oh man,
yeah.
But I had in 1986, I bought a copy of the Doctor Who role-playing game.
Okay.
So just saying, if you want to do role-playing games sometime, I've got the source books for all the Doctor Who stuff.
If I wanted to play Doctor Who, the role-playing game, I have Mage the Ascension, sir.
Yeah. That's basically that. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah,
now,
I didn't grow up.
I had one of my my brother's daughter, so it was my niece, right? But he's 14 years younger than me because I was 14 when he was born. She's just graduating high school. She's like 17, graduating high school early or whatever. And her sister, who's like a year out of high school, they were asking me if I'd ever heard of Doctor Who or watched Doctor Who. And I was like, yeah, I might have seen it too.
Seen a couple too. Onesie twosies.
And then, they were asking me. They were also asking me if I played any role playing games. If I ever played, do you ever play Dungeons and Dragons? And I'm just like, okay, so I have this box over here called Dungeons and Dragons First Edition from 1978, I think it was 77. Yeah,
now, let me show you the most broken game. It's called AD&D. It's called AD&D.
I have the AD&D.
And it's broken.
AD&D is not broken. Difficult to learn and figure out what's going on. It's just not broken.
Compared to modern time?
3.0 is broken.
But the person I was talking to was like, well, I've only played 5e before. And I'm like,
yeah, that's usually what happens.
Sweet summer child.
Not everybody had a friend or a family member that would go, here's my old 3.5 book. Figure this out. Like I was.
I had the AD&D box. I had the AD&D box set with a bunch of the add-ons I've got, and I bought the Temple of Elemental Evil source book that I wanted to play so bad. I was DMing at the time, and I was running a game, and we started off, and basically the people who I decided to play with, because it was a small town, you pick people you could. It wasn't a very good selection, right? Yeah. They all screwed off and ended up getting themselves killed in a bar fight in town before they even got to the temple. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just so I still have that. I still would love to play it one of these days, but there's a lot of fun stuff in there.
Well,
I'm just not I'm not a very good DM. I don't think I am. I'm just not. I'm not as quick on my feet as I need to be. And you have to have a lot of stuff prepped and planned and everything else. I'm just, that's not me.
Improv and contingency plans.
Yeah.
You got to be a little too detailed.
I don't think
I'm too ADHD
either, but people keep showing up to my table. I don't know if it's because they can't find anyone else.
Yeah. Well, that was an idea I had in high school that I was going to start a business. Because I had this idea. This was in mid 1980s. I was going to start a business, and what it was going to be like the stores where you can go in and you can buy, source books and all the game stores like Game Preserve. Only, I would also have rooms in the back and hire people to be DMs and run games, so that we had professional DMs running games that were good, So people would come in, and while they're in there playing those games, well, they need this book, or they need these character sheets, they need this dice. It's all sitting right there. It would have been great, I think.
Yep, that's a thing now.
Down a
I'm an
DM
idea guy.
I turned down a pro
did you?
DM job. Yeah, I didn't think I was, like I the fear, like I'm gonna get fired. There's no way I can keep this, like, professionally. But then
It's the imposter syndrome, right?
Oh yeah. I was
course.
super young.
Well,
and
you've heard of the super imposter syndrome, right?
super imposter syndrome.
Yeah, you never heard of this? The super imposter syndrome is understanding the imposter syndrome and realizing that everybody's experiencing the imposter syndrome except for you. You're really the imposter. So it's like a double layer imposter syndrome.
But you're the
I'm these guys, they just think that they're incompetent and they're gonna get found out. I know I am. And
all right,
one
thanks
day it's just
Rhino,
gonna
for bringing
bite me.
that sweet hell to arm. Thanks.
Well,
Bringing up Roscoe's
it just
basket.
sounds like imposter syndrome. It just sounds like a fancy word of going, I know I have imposter syndrome, and I also know that everybody else is stupid, so I'm a nihilist with imposter syndrome. That's what it sounds like to me. Nihilistic imposter syndrome.
But I will say this, like so you've got the rules for like the Doctor Who role playing game. Like I think I would like to see them either one, because I like seeing like different role playing game systems. Two, I have like in my head the ways to make anything a LARP, because I think the place that we play on Tuesday nights, where we like to play gaming on Tuesday night, that I think doing the Doctor Who LARP in that space would be great if we can get everyone on board wanting to do a Doctor Who LARP. I think it'd be amazing to get everyone to show, especially if they knew it was in advance, they have like a month or two to get costumes ready.
I do have to admit, I have done LARPing before.
Right,
this was back. This was back in the 90s. We went to a convention in town. It was one of those comic conventions, but it wasn't like one of the real big ones or anything. Mm-hmm. And we showed up because we were doing Vampire the Masquerade at the time. We were doing live action role playing Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, baby.
So it was.
What was your clan? What was your clan?
I was the crazy ones. I can't remember the name now.
Malkavian.
Malkavian, yeah, the Malkavians. Yeah.
Yes.
I was Malkavian.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, the fifth strongest clan.
There was a TV show that came out about the same time the Doctor Who thing did.
We're not talking about that show.
That show was good. That show was so good, though, and it really captured that type of vampire kind of world really well. And I think that show could have gone places. It could have been the next Supernatural if they hadn't basically screwed it over.
That's true. Well,
studios.
First off, fuck White Wolf. Two, they're stupid moves. All right. The other one is you ever played Hunter the Reckoning? With Hunter the Reckoning, they had it was part of the whole World of Darkness inside of Vampire the Masquerade, right? Well, after White Wolf Publishing took the rights of my favorite gaming system, Big Ass Small Mouth, they had the rights for it and they were just sitting on it. Well, to getting the runaround from them, I discovered that they let one of their IP address of their domains lapse. Pissed off young guy, I bought it. So in Hunter the Reckoning, in order to get to the imbued Hunter net, you had to go to a website called Anonymous Liberty. I own that now, and it goes to the Weird Libertarians page. So anyone's like picks up the Hunter the Reckoning, the old school Hunter the Reckoning, and it tells you to go to this website. Boop, wait to the wall page, and that's me. And I'm willing to sell it back to White Wolf for an apology.
Does White Wolf still exist?
I don't know.
Are they still a thing?
I don't know.
I had the Vampire the Masquerade card collectible game because it came out the year after Magic. Because Magic was so big that first year. We went to we went to a Gen Con. At that time was in Milwaukee, I used to
Real
go there
Gen
to Gen Con, right? Yeah. So I used to drive up there to Milwaukee is one of my favorite places for just going out for a visit because Safe House is there, and I love the Safe House. But so they had Gen Con there, and of course we
Right,
went.
we're not supposed to
Got
tell
a
where our
drink
safe
over there.
houses are. We're not.
I'm not going to give away the password to get in, so because there is one. The so there was like the first year after Magic the Gathering, and then my roommate at the time had showed me Magic and got me into it, so I was playing a bunch of stuff. So they were doing a big tournament, and then we saw that year that the Vampire the Masquerade game came out. So I bought a whole bunch of those. I had a whole set, and it was pretty fun. I liked that game a lot. It was just
People really love the IP.
It was no Magic.
Yeah. People really like the IP in general. I mean, there's a reason the Vampire the Masquerade video game still exists solely because the fans took this broken game and go, we're gonna fix it and make and love this game because we love the bones of this, but the actual people making it are trash. And it's like, all right, so we made our own cutscenes now. Here's how the game actually works now, its functions. And any other game that's based on Vampire the Masquerade just usually sucks for no reason because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're up their own asses. Most of the time, they are. I gotta put it like most people who are head of like any of the. I'm gonna put it like especially like Vampire the Masquerade stuff. It's a lot of people are up their own ass of Elder Goth bull crap, and it's just like you don't want to have fun.
Did you know that Werewolf the Apocalypse had a game that came out, like a video game?
They probably did. It's
No, like
trash.
recently, like last year.
Wow.
And it was
trash, yeah?
It was one of the worst games of the year because it was bad game and it basically didn't give the balance of being a werewolf at all.
Could have just
and they try to force like stealth sections where you had to stay human. But the stealth sections would always fail, so you always have to go werewolf. So it became a boring hack and slash because they didn't get the combat right either.
It's a werewolf.
Yeah, they didn't get the combat right in werewolf.
It's just werewolf. It's werewolf.
Well, we're talking about video games and broken and people keeping them alive. SWTOR still exists.
All right, thanks for
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played that game the day it released. It was a New Year's Day. And me and a friend of mine got on and we played that game. It was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's
the best part about the game, though, was the PvP.
Yes. Yeah.
It was actually really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The story was okay. I enjoyed going through and playing the different stories and stuff, but it was the real selling point was the PvP on that.
I've never played any of the story part. I just only played the multiplayer.
Oh, really?
Ooh. Yeah.
Well, it's only an online game, but yeah. But you can still go through as a character, right? So build your character up through the stories, and each character it was the same story, but it was seen from different points of view, different missions and things like that you had to do. And you had the Han Solo hustler or Maverick kind of guy. Then you had, you could be a Jedi and all that stuff, and it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. When people love games, it's always so interesting to watch them keep them alive over and over again. It's interesting. There's a YouTube series called Death of a Game, and usually this guy goes into this deep dive into all these big, like usually it's MOBA games or games along those lines, where he just goes into the development, how they came to be, and all the issues that led them to becoming like a failed game. Like he did one about
Demigod.
Yeah, he did one about Evolve, the game Evolve. That was the 1-on-4 where one guy was the monster and the other 4 were the hunters. And they talked about how he basically went into in depth of this is what caused the issue of this game. Like they didn't really get the balance right. They immediately put DLC in it for no reason. That whenever they tried to fix it, they always broke the game more, so nobody could actually enjoy it.
First came out, I played that game for about a week and gone. Couldn't keep it.
So it's a
There's another-
very interesting series to watch him go through all these games.
There's another guy who's doing a series too. It's about all the different online MMORPGs or whatever. And he basically he goes through the whole list of why did this one fail? Why is this one good? Why is this one miss? And so he's probably done about 40 or 50. And what he does is he actually goes and tries to play the games if you can. I mean, some of them you can't, but he goes and tries to play them and he says, okay, how is it working? What was it like? How did my experience go? Why did it fail? And then he can go into more of the history of stuff. So he's got gameplay footage while he's doing it. It's really good. He did one that for a game that I really liked. And I can't remember. Rift was the name of the game.
Oh, Rift.
Yep. I loved that. I loved Rift. I still have a character. I can still go play it once in a while. It's still there. It still exists.
Thanks, Ryan Home.
So, and you can also still play Guild Wars. And by the way, the original Guild Wars, that was the shit. All right. The original Guild Wars was great. Now I have Guild Wars 2. I love Guild Wars 2. Don't get me wrong.
All right, Ryan, you have moved up in the pecking order. Thanks for liking Guild Wars.
Guild Wars was the best
Guild Wars liker down there.
Yeah, the Guild Wars.
I don't play MMOs,
especially the 55 hit point monk. They nerfed it, but damn, when it was there, it was hilarious to play.
Can I make your screen smaller? Oh, yeah. There's
a lot of interesting.
Just to let you know, if you didn't know what the 55 HP monk was, there was a skills that you could have and a certain special makeup that you could do. And what was really cool at Guild Wars is you had like 5 skills sections, so you could do it, but you were very limited on what you could do. You had to really pick and choose. But there was a special setup where you could set up your character as a monk. The way it builds back, it reduces damage based off of your hit points to the point where you have 55 hit points, but no matter how big the attack is against you, they're doing 1 hit point. And then you have these skills that automatically regen you. So you're basically invincible. You can go out. There's videos of going out in the desert and getting all these huge monsters all attacking you at one time. And then you running your special commands that just devastate them all. Boom, boom, boom. They're dead. And you would just get tons of experience, tons of loot. It was great. It was a fun thing. 55 hit point monk, and unfortunately they had to kind of kill it. But the storyline inside of Guild Wars was so interesting.
It still is in Guild Wars 2. Like, did you play the Guild Wars 2 beta?
I played. Trust me, I was Guild Wars 2 because I wasn't such a Guild Wars 1 fan, right? Guild Wars 2, I heard it was coming out. I was on board. I got it day one. So. I go on there now. I log in now, and I've got here's your 12th anniversary, birthday present or whatever. Like, you get a present every year, and it's like I got tons of them.
Yeah. So I was one of the people that probably forced some of the rogue nerf. Okay. Because of the little capture the flag thing that you could do, right? So the rogues could lay a trap, right? So I had a trap that would summon me back to a point, right? So you cross this line, it'll summon me to a point, right? No matter what I'm doing, if I'm in the world, basically in that zone, I'm still in that trap's still there, it'll zap me right back to that. I had another trap which would summon a rogue at my level, just an NPC rogue, at my level, right? So we would play capture the little capture the flag thing, right? I put my little trap on it, right? So when someone traps it, right, I instantly teleport back to the flag. And then I teleport and I make another rogue just like me at my same level. Then I hit my ultimate ability, which summons 2 rogues at my abilities. Welcome to the 4-on-1 stomp. Boo, boo. Yeah, they stopped that.
They nerfed that. They made that not possible.
They nerfed that.
Guild Wars 2, the PvP of that game, the world versus world. Oh, it was such a great idea, and then people tried stealing it.
Yeah, it made you respect your world and team up with people that you don't even hang out with, but
these massive 50 by 50 or 60 by 60 people, they're all on the same map, all fighting and coordinating.
Fortnite had nothing on something like this. The idea there's all this, fighting each other of different races and everything, abilities, just going there, pushing cards, attacking them.
Yeah, and then they added on,
and it's always going on because you may want to do the regular missions, but this is going on.
Yeah, and then depending on how your faction, because there's three factions, depending on how your faction that you happen to be in, the world, the server you're on, how whether they're in control or not determines whether you get special bonuses during the regular game.
Right.
So you had to go in there and try and keep control, or else you would get screwed. It was harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was there was an Ulta there was an online game. What was it for? Skyrim, but it was the online version that they made.
Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online. They had a world versus. That was the only good thing about that game was the world versus world that they built. Because they tried doing the similar thing. It wasn't as good as Guild Wars 2, but it was still actually pretty fun. So going on there and playing that mode was what was the fun part on that. Everything else was kind of meh. So
another YouTube series about like defunct things. It's called What Happened. And it basically goes through the terrible developments of things, usually franchises or movies. And even if the game was a success, they talks about how tumultuous the development stuff is, like how Resident Evil 4 was originally supposed to be Devil May Cry. Like the original Devil May Cry game was supposed to be the next Resident Evil game. And he did an episode about Harvest Moon in general and how Harvest Moon hit a point where the company that was making it in Japan didn't need the American company anymore, but the American company held the name Harvest Moon. So now there's Harvest Moon and Friends of Mineral Town, which are two different games, but Friends of Mineral Town is the original franchise. And Harvest Moon is being made by people who've never made a Harvest Moon game ever.
They have the rights.
They have the rights for the name Harvest Moon.
ZeniMax, that's the other. That's who killed Ultima Online too, or not Ultima Online, but Elder Scrolls. ZeniMax, it's just a terrible studio.
Yeah, and that's why I have massive respect to game studios when they know they're going to pull support and out. They open source everything or give it to the players so they can run private servers. You know, even with MMOs, S4 League did that. So, like, I used to play this game called S4 League, and right before like it ended, it's like, okay, this is how you run your own private service, right? Because like we're done, we're going to turn the servers off. You guys want to keep playing this damn game? It's all on you now, you know. So the game still exists. People still play the damn game. You know, I've booted it up a couple of times. It's still fun, and there's dirty player base.
Dirty bombs like that, they still play. You still play those games because they're community servers. But what's really cool, Guild Wars 1 servers are still active and being run by the company. You can go play Guild Wars 1 right now. It exists.
Which makes me like when I was playing, I still play Guild Wars 2. Like, I'm still willing to spend money with Guild Wars because it's like I can still play my Guild Wars 1 characters. I still like boot those suckers up.
Yeah, but that's the thing is you had legacy stuff too. So certain achievements that you got in Guild Wars 1 would give you stuff in Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
So you have like a Hall of Memories, and it was supposed to be like hundreds of years later, but you could still have some sort of reverence back to those original characters. So
it's okay.
I give him props for that because that game could have been shut down a decade ago and it's still running, and I give him props for that.
Well, it's like Final Fantasy 11 still running, which has shocked me. They were basically like when I found that out, like Final Fantasy 11 servers are still running, but for PC version at the PlayStation, like I felt so cheated because I played on the PlayStation. It's like, so you're telling me if I would have just did PC, like I could still be playing Final Fantasy 11.
Do you know if the original Final Fantasy 15 or whatever one it was, that's the MMO, 14 is the original one still available? Though, because they did a whole massive world nuke and made a new game.
Oh, I have no idea.
And called it like a new legacy, and they completely destroyed the original game and made a second game.
Yeah, but I believe that was like it's also like it's part of like the plot in the story too. I don't know.
Yeah, they made it. They made it plot relevant to destroy that world, which is interesting.
I'm not in that world, but that was the same thing with Guild Wars 2. I remember the fight for Lion's Arch in Guild Wars 2. Because Lion's Arch was this beautiful city, and they freaking destroyed it.
Yeah, after that event, you go back into the Lion's Arch, and it's destroyed, and you have to live in that world going forward. You can't go be. You go back to the
Which,
way it was,
like,
man. It was so
the-
pretty before.
Yeah, the guild I was in before it was destroyed by farming simulator games, basically simulator games. Our guild leader got addicted to Euro Truck Simulator, Farming Simulator. All these are he just got some of these, and our guild leader was just gone. My guild was called Lifeguards of Lion's Arch. That was our name. We were the lifeguards of Lion's Arch. This is what we did. Which I'm kind of glad the guild didn't say that, because our Lion's Arch is
There were people who were staying. They would never kick off the breaking, the world break. They would just play in the original world because that's all. So much fun.
I refuse.
I refuse to do this to Lion's Arch. I want to play the old one. But it's
Lion's Arch was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Now it's
and what was her name? Gwen, little Gwen with her flute, her broken flute.
I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember.
No,
that was like a I think it was a quest that never got finished or never got put back. It was supposed to be a long-term quest or something. You get her broken flute in the old before the breaking, and then you can do something later with it. I can't remember if they ever implemented that or not, but it was kind of called upon later. So, but it was just this forethought that they had of that part of the game. And talking about people, game companies actually doing the right things.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give props to a company, the company that made No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that game's trash.
No. You don't understand. That game, when that game came out, it was not so much trash as it was way under what it was promised. But what they did is instead of just saying, well, we got our money, we're bailing, we're going to do something else, they spent years coding in all the stuff they were promising for that.
Yeah, they've just been fixing it.
And they've been putting new updates and new fixes, and it's like,
I think
game's
it's
pretty
still
good
getting
now.
updated now.
Oh, it is. It's still, they just had a new update like 2 months ago, and it's good. It really is good now. So, I mean, I give them credit because they could have bailed on that. They were getting so much crap for it, and they had the money already, so they could have just went out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't. They stuck with it.
It's very few times where they actually care. Yeah. So it's really nice when you can see a company actually cares about the IP that they're working on, and then how they
I think the guy
run through it.
There's a guy who did a whole documentary on the guy who made basically No Man's Sky and everything that went on behind the scenes there. And the guy, he was way in over his head, but he had a vision and he wanted to get it out there. So I think he just kept on with that passion for it. I mean, it cost him a lot, but he made money off of it. So, I mean, it's good for him, but it was not, it wasn't like some company just put together something and didn't stand behind it and walked away. This was a guy who tried to start something on his own, and he got a bunch of people to help him, and then that was how it started. It wasn't thought of by a big studio to do it, right? So, but then they did work with the studio. The studio screwed him over a bit. It was just, the whole story is just really interesting to watch. But what got me was when you realize he stuck around when he didn't have to and fixed he's trying to put out what he promised years later, but still what he promised.
It's always good when game creators have the opportunity to actually be able to live up to what they promised or what they always wanted to do. That's why certain games that got crowdfunded are really interesting. Like the Bloodstain series was the guy who originally made Castlevania. And Konami was like, nah, we don't want you to make Castlevania anymore. We don't make games anymore. We make pachinko machines with our IPs because we hate you. So he decided to get it crowdfunded to basically make his own Castlevania games. And they're not just one type. He has a series. There's a series of Bloodstained games that are like the classic NES Castlevania, like 2D side-scrolling Castlevania, and then there's the 3D one that's more based like on Symphony of the Night in comparison, which is very cool when you can see creators have a passion for something and people being able to go, we also enjoy this. Please keep giving us more of this.
Lackajaw Supplies said that he's basically figuring out that like most Madden players, you can just do some glitch and get a remove feature back.
I mean, yeah, it's for most things
Yeah,
that
right.
that are EA based.
Yeah, that's pretty much all right. So guys, it's been over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Let's wrap this bad boy up, okay? All right. Now, I will say this. I will keep teasing out. Especially now. I've got to outline a framework. I think I don't know. We may start in October. We may give Ryan what he wants. This massive 4-hour show. Not on Mondays though. Sorry, bro. That ain't happening. But a Friday night, like 8 o'clock. Let's go 4 hours or ish. I don't know. Still thinking it out. Trying to piece it together. It's just my issue is like I've got a 5:30 a.m. yoga class, so like the idea of like trying to go past on Friday night.
Why don't you do Saturday night?
I could do Saturday. See, Saturday night, I'm trying to like. I've been holding back because I've been wanting to run my game on Saturday nights, and I've been waiting for a certain other person to run their game. Not saying who, but another person that's supposed to run a game that I'm waiting for. So I don't want to like crowd the space. I want to make sure there's space for it. So I don't want to like crowd it, but I kind of want to run my game.
It's too bad that person's not listening in right now, so that they could,
Exactly.
hear.
Yeah, I don't know who this person might be at all, but if this person was listening, hopefully I'm looking out for his game. Anyways, so yeah, so I just want to keep some space open, but I was just thinking like running on Saturday nights, so that's why the Friday night thing. Yes, Saturday nights would be easier for me. It would be easier, but I should know like when I would run my game, unless like I wanted to figure out some other time to run my game.
Did you guys see when
that's a lot of ones to get a 10?
It's 10 ones to get a 10, right?
Yeah, 10 ones.
Is that 10?
Thanks for the cheer.
Did you guys ever see when I was playing D&D online on Twitch? Harry, I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, so it's basically the person who isn't listening that you were talking about, and I were playing. I was on the game for originally, and then somebody left, and we needed a replacement, so I brought in that person. But we were doing D&D every week for like 2 or 3 hours, and we had I can't remember the name of the product, but there's these online places where you can have the character sheets and you can roll the dice automatically and stuff like that.
Roll D20.
Roll 20. Roll 20 is one. So we used to do that. I mean, I don't know.
Roll D20 is the place that offered me that professional DM job, by the way.
Oh yeah, cool. So if you wanted to do something like that, where we could do it online and stream it, that might be an idea. That's what I'm saying.
See, like I would do that, but I'm terrible at making maps, especially digital maps.
We had no maps. We had 0 maps on the when we did it. To the point where I was just like, can we bring up a piece of paper and let me draw just so I can see what we're, because I don't see what you're talking about and placing it, right? So you have the ability just to bring up a screen and just start drawing, grids. You can do squares and things like that. So you can make your own graph paper stuff and do stuff. So you let the people, the players, do it as they're going along, and you can see what's happening, and you can better place. I move up here around this corner, blah, 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 But, I mean, Roll20's got a really cool feature. If you have the actual map, you can do, like, line of sight. If you haven't seen it yet, you see it around the corner. It shows you what you could see as a player. So that's a nice little feature, but we never really got into and implemented that because the DM didn't have maps and stuff.
The big thing is that I know what game he is talking about because I'm currently in that game, the one he wants to run, and it's definitely more cyberpunky and less D&D.
I love cyberpunk. I used to play a cyberpunk game. Well, let me tell you my story real quick on the cyberpunk game.
Yep.
One of my roommates was a bit of a dick. But he was running
Okay.
he was running a cyberpunk game, and I was his roommate, so I got myself put into the game, but it was all his friends, and I don't think they really liked that I was in the game or whatever. But we would do the thing. We rolled up our characters, spent the whole night moving our characters, and we went through a mission or something like that. And then afterwards, I said, it'd be really cool is if I went back on the team and tried to make a back behind them scenes deal to do this thing where I could be, I could get what I want out of it, but they'll still get what they want, but everything, it was obviously going to be a big issue, right? So we off time did the whole thing where I said, okay, here's what I'm talking to the guy, here's what we say, here's what we set up, blah blah blah, and then we were getting ready to do the next session where this was all going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother had died, so I was at a funeral. So he played my character and basically fucked me over. Had my character killed. Everybody hated me. They all died. They wanted to start new characters without me in it because they didn't want me in the game. That's what made me mad. I actually enjoyed playing Cyberpunk, but what he did to me, he was the guy who was. I was taking him to work every day. He worked in a warehouse job. I'd take him to work every day at night while I was working during the day. I'd take him to work at night and bring him home, and then he found out he could sell a bunch of his original Alpha Black Lotus Magic the Gathering cards and made a bunch of money. He made like several $1,000s. And I was like, that's really cool. That's really cool. You could get a car now and drive yourself to work. He says, I don't have to work at all now for the next 3 months. I'll just come back in 3 months and sell more cards. And then 3 months, and so he just didn't work for 3 months. And then 3 months come by, and it's time for him to, go sell those cards. And then the guy's like, well, the market's down. We're not buying anymore right now. So he didn't have. So now he's like, I'm not taking you to work anymore. You screwed yourself on that one, buddy.
That's
so
gross.
Well,
I'm just.
I don't know this person, but let's hate this other person who does stuff like that.
I mean,
Anyway,
that person wouldn't just randomly sell Black Lotuses for nothing.
That's true.
A couple
That's true.
$1,000 is nothing now. One is like
this was in the 90s.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
now,
this was in the
that's what I said.
Oh yeah, when I see the
now,
prices on them now, I'm just like, I cannot believe I didn't buy him from him.
You could make it. It's a better investment portfolio to have 5 Black Lotuses than almost any bank account.
If I had 2 Black Lotuses, my student loans would be paid off.
Exactly. I heard someone was talking about how they that them and a friend basically bought stock in buying a Black Lotus together.
All right, so now that we are getting to the end of the episode, because this episode is getting too long in the tooth,
just like me.
I'm gonna shut the sucker down, but I will promise you guys that we will do a long form episode. We'll go on just kind of like this esque. We'll just talk. We'll try to bring in some other, the wall crews.
You could tell. Yeah, they could tell that we could go for a while right now if we wanted to keep going.
Oh yeah, honestly, but if I didn't have to do some server maintenance tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. Oh yeah, I'd probably just like F this. I'm gonna get another bottle. Let's keep going. Let's do this.
I mean, I can easily talk about random stuff. That's
especially
my thing.
Especially Vincent right now. Especially if we go for bits. Just funnel into Vincent to keep him up and going. Be great. Be good. Golden. Anyways, but no, I'm gonna end this episode. We're gonna. Do you guys want to say anything before I say the closing remarks, or?
Are you going to be prepared next time?
As long as I have time to work on this machine and get my clips off it, yes, I am.
So that's a no, Vincent.
Huh?
I'm glad we know.
I'm dealing with MSI customer support to deal with my power supply. So I have no faith in that. So I'm going to use this SFX old school power supply that I had that's on my test bench, removing it from my test PC, and I'm going to put it in this sucker here. And then deal with the RMA process, the MSI, how long that's going to take. I don't know. Because I really feel like it's trying to break me down just to like, screw it. It's not worth it. I'll just buy another goddamn power supply. I really feel like that's what the entire RMA process is
I'm just making sure that we're doing it next week. It's gonna be
I just need my clips off this thing, and I really don't have a like
a way to do it.
M.2.NAND reader to USB reader at my house. Never needed it. I know they exist, I just don't have one. And by the time at noon, I realized, like, crap, I need the things off this, this stupid drive to like the information I know is still there because it's on storage. I can, like if I had an adapter, I could easily pull it off, but I don't have one. So
I've got this interesting adapter that I bought that you could actually hook up hard drives to, different types of hard drives, so you can pull stuff off of them, import them in and stuff. It's really cool. I like it. Because I have like 8 or hard drives laying around.
Yes.
I'm just saying
I know they exist. I have one for PATA drives and SATA drives. Okay, I can slap them all in, but not for M.2.
For M2.
I don't have those.
M2, M2.5. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. Yeah, everything else we can do, but not because it's just never needed it. Not at home. At home, I never needed it. So.
I just need to know what we're talking about next time, so I can actually become prepared with either pop culture or the anime I'm talking about.
Well, we don't really need to be prepared for pop culture because obviously we can just keep going.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Not a big deal. So
obviously,
it's like, So if next week we cut back and we still can't do it, we'll do something else.
Yeah, of course.
I'll just start reading through the LPNH tweets, and then we can have a good time.
All right. So this episode has gotten long in the truth, and so we need to end this episode. Thank you for everyone for listening to the show. You could have been anywhere or any place in the world, listen to anything else in the world, but you decided to listen to this. That I thank you. We will be back next week with more pop culture and news reviews and our favorite talks about because I'm gonna make everyone on this entire network a Gundam fan. You're gonna love Gundam, okay? All right, when this is done, you're gonna love Gundam. So thank you, and good night.